Well, we're back. It's a lovely Thursday afternoon here in Ireland. It's not great to be honest, but however, it is what it is. It's just weather. It won't impact the performance of the day. So, where are we at with things? Yeah, pretty good again. Yesterday I talked about referrals, and I think, ironically, I got one this morning. So maybe my business is too reliant on them. I don't know. I don't think so. No, it was nice to get one this morning again for sure. Which is, just tees up another call on the calendar. I started the year pretty well on this front. Again, I was really happy with the amount of intro calls I was having. Not just like intro calls with an individual through the lens of I think I could work with them or I'd like to work with them. I had a call this morning which was more of a general like partnership call almost. So even the variety of calls is increasing. The number of calls is increasing, which is good. So really I'm just exposing myself to a number of different, I suppose, people and conversations, which is great. And from my perspective, that's only a good thing. Something came up earlier today, which I thought was really interesting, was I more or less I was posed the question of, who do I think my competitors are, or who do I see as competition, so to speak. I thought it was an interesting thing to consider for a bit, because I've always felt that if you're doing something really well, so you have a business that's creating a product that serves a certain person, or you are running a service that helps people or a certain group of people do something better or do that thing for them. Let's assume that you have other people like yourself doing that for those same people. Ultimately, I think it generally serves not only those people who are your clients, but it serves the market better if you can think on it through a lens of, okay, well, I'm just going to focus on doing what I do really well for the type of people I know I can help. I'm not going to concern myself with being too worried about what other people, so in my case, agency advisors, consultants, business coaches, there are fantastic people doing something similar to what I'm doing, probably serving similar people. That's okay, I as far as I'm concerned, I'm just focused on trying to help, as I've said before, a relatively small group of people for now in a certain way, and that way will work for them. It might not work for other people, and I'm completely okay with that. And I'm not too concerned. I think two things. I'm not too concerned if there's someone that comes in and maybe pitches for a client that I'm trying to work with, and that potential client thinks they're a better fit. That's great. Honestly, the best thing for me is hearing off and seeing agency owners getting support, because I think it's one of the best things that, if not the best thing that the agency I was with previously did. We got some support in a couple of different areas. For example, you might work with someone on HR specifically. It could be tremendously helpful for your business. You might work with someone on the finance piece. You might work with someone like myself, maybe more on the operations side and trying to get help in general running of your business as you scale it. That's all fine. Just getting the support is so helpful for agency owners. And I'm not going to get too concerned whether, if a competitor, what could they do? They follow me on LinkedIn and maybe start trying to get in touch with people that I'm currently working with. I mean, okay, that's not great, but at the same time, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. And when it comes to then, trying to win new business, I've had a few people already. I mean, I got an email just before Christmas with someone that I'd spoken to, and I felt like I could help them. But I just sensed that, like, I honestly didn't care too much if it was me or someone else. They just needed help, and they got the help through someone else. I was really happy for them, and I hope it's going well for them. It's been a couple of months now. I genuinely just hope that's going well for them. And if it isn't, and they want to chat to me again in the future, brilliant. I hope I can help them. But if it's going really well, fantastic. So yeah, that came up earlier in the context of, you know, I suppose it was phrased in the lines of, or on the lines of, I've seen more and more people trying to do something similar to what I'm doing. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't pay too much attention to it. I saw a couple of people pop up on LinkedIn recently doing something similar. I think one thing I took from seeing those people was actually I can probably sharpen my positioning a bit more, which is something I'm definitely going to talk about in one of these videos, because my positioning is okay. I think it could be better. It probably doesn't speak directly enough to the pain or the problem that agency owners are feeling that I can help them out with. I think it's quite clear I help agency owners, but they often have the question when they speak to me, okay, so what exactly is it you do? So I can work on that, and even by doing that, it'll even refine who my competitors are potentially. And even saying competitors, I think it's kind of, I just don't feel like I'm in competition with people. I genuinely just see this as a business of, there are plenty of options for people, specifically agency owners, to get support in relation to the running of their business. I'm one of them. I will be able to help certain people. There will be certain people that are not a fit, and that's the way it is. That's what the competitors are there for. They'll work with the people that are a better fit for them. So yeah, that's just my view. And I think I genuinely have not had a single, you might think, oh, you must have sleepless nights about I don't really worry about competition at all. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, that was the main thought I had for today, really. Just I think if I even put it in the context of an agency owner, so if you're listening to this and you're running an agency, and let's say you're doing, I don't know, let's just say you're a PPC agency. There are so many people doing PPC. I mean, loads. Now you add in the question of, you know, can people use AI to do PPC better in some ways and stuff like this. I think there are plenty of people doing it. How are you going to stand out? Probably do it better, you know, do it better, or do it for a certain type of business, or do it in a certain way that separates you from others. It's the same as any industry or any space. I mean, how are you differentiating yourself to an extent? Or what's your USP? Or what is it about your service that's special or unique, or maybe again serves a certain type of person better than someone else? I would imagine over time I'll work with many agencies that technically on paper compete with each other, and that's good as far as I'm concerned, because if I'm working with 2 or 3 agencies that are technically doing the same thing, maybe for different audiences or slightly different businesses, the overlap in learnings across those businesses can be huge for each of those people. And I think they have to see it that way too. For example, if I worked with a client and they were apprehensive about working with me or concerned about working with me because I work with another similar agency to theirs, yeah, I mean, it's almost a non-runner from the get-go, because I suppose the layer of trust has to come in there, in the sense of they need to know that I'm obviously never ever going to share anything confidential. I'm not going to, you know, give another agency their secret sauce or their little tricks and tips, so to speak. That's not for me to do. What I will do is use what I see from my perspective across different agencies to help those other agencies in turn. So let's use an example from the last month alone. Hiring. I mean, when it comes to hiring, you're learning every time you do it. You try to make a hire. So the most recent learning for me was, you know, in relation to the price point that we're entering the market for a certain type of role. It's changed drastically in the last 12 to 24 months, in my opinion. And I hadn't hired for that role at all for anyone since, it would have been 2022. So I didn't hire for that role in 2023. It's now 2024, and since 2022, I just feel like there's been a massive shift in the market for that type of position. So that's me getting a bit of a feel for the market and how it's changed, and now I know that, so I'm gonna take it and apply it to one of my other clients. And that's just a learning, and that's me pulling knowledge from one client and the experiences I have with them and what they feel and what they see, and using that to help one of my other clients. And it's why when I say about doing something like, you know, a client offsite or whatever I end up calling it, a day with a group of clients that are similar minded people, that are always open, eager to learn, and willing to, I suppose, share their experiences. When you put those people together, yeah, I mean, this type of thing is going to come out, and it's going to be really interesting to see what we can take from each other. So that's why I'm really excited about that day as well, that I'm planning on doing. But regardless, it's fundamentally the thing that I'm trying to do in my business anyhow, is work with people, learn, share experiences across different clients, and ultimately make sure that I'm helping my clients as much as I can. It doesn't matter if I'm helping them through experiences lived by a similar agency or a completely different agency. If it's relevant and helpful, you know, we want it to be passed across so that we can all do well in business, because it's really tough out there, you know. So yeah, those are my thoughts on competition. I guess I don't really see it as a competition. I just see it as, if we all look at it through the lens, if we're all trying to help people to the best of our ability, particularly people like myself, but even agencies in general, then I think it helps, because it just puts you in a very different mindset, puts you in more of a supportive, collective mindset, as opposed to a defensive mindset where you're thinking people are out to get me, you're out to steal my business, when in reality that's not the case. So yeah, just some thoughts on competition. Speaking of competition, more Six Nations on this weekend. The Super Bowl's on this weekend, so it's a great weekend for sport. That's a bit of insight as to what I spend my free time doing, but I'm just looking here to see what else is coming up for me today. Oh yeah, really exciting thing I'll do today is, I say really exciting, did I mention this yesterday? I don't know. I need to get, or wanted to get for a while now, the general, I suppose, the story of the business, the pain and the kind of the problems that I help owners solve or alleviate, and just an overview of the services. I want to get that down into like a deck or a presentation format, and probably put it into a Loom, something I can just share for when someone says, can you tell me more about your business? Equally, I'm trying to craft a way whereby, and it'll probably be a Loom as well, I just more or less look at a business, and based on what I can see, this is a bit kind of tricky for me in fairness, but based on what I can see about them or what I know about them, or maybe based on what someone shared with me, I can just share a couple of initial thoughts in Loom about where I'd start looking if I were them, basically trying to provide some initial value in about 60 to 90 seconds that shows someone how I think and maybe gives them something to work with. These are people that I've maybe had a quick conversation with, or back and forth via text, or I'm in touch with for whatever reason. But yeah, that's the aim for the rest of the afternoon. Beyond that, I probably won't do too much today, truthfully. No, just looking, I mean, it's 1:30 now, so time flies. Anyway, that's all. So yeah, thoughts on competition. Anybody wants to drop a comment and share their perspective on competition, I'd be very, very open to having a chat about it, because I think it's an interesting topic. But I guess I've shared my view on it, and at least how I think about it through the lens of my own business. So how do you think about it? Do you feel that people are out to get your business and you're always up against other businesses? Or do you see it more like I do, in the sense of there probably are competitors, so to speak, but just focus on doing your own thing? Yeah, that's all. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be another pipeline heavy day, maybe a bit of prep for some client work next week. But again, this is it, you know, these are the days where the work happens, and there's nothing exciting or glamorous about this to an extent. It's just interesting stuff. At least I find it interesting. But yeah, anyway, I will speak to you tomorrow to wrap up an hour week.